sorry. It's already been a long day. Case, my client, I gave her the login yesterday. She's in rehab. And then it just changed about 30 minutes ago. And I really wanted her to be here. I just tried to call the rehab and to let them know that there was a new login, but I was unable to reach anyone. So I didn't know if the caseworker could help me with that or while we're waiting.
I'm sorry. The caseworker did try to call Nexus, and she couldn't get anyone to assist Miss Rumley with Zoom instructions, but she left her contact information and asked if they would give her a call back.
Well, I feel bad because she did call my office yesterday and we sent them to an email that she's probably expecting to get on. And obviously that's not going to help her since it's not the right one.
Ms. Hollier, you mentioned something changed. What changed?
The login ID. Cheryl sent a new login ID 30 minutes before court for today. And so the one I sent her was the one she had previously sent out. So it just recently changed about 30 minutes ago. I mean, is that what everybody else experienced, or am I wrong? I mean, I went, yeah.
Yes, I contacted.
I think that was maybe for Kyle's.
No, we the one I tried initially told me that this was scheduled for the 23rd.
And I contacted Miss Cheryl this morning to let her know that the link wasn't working, and she said she would send it out to everyone else.
Okay.
So what happened is she sent out the 22nd docket saying it was the 23rd with the Zoom link. And then she sent out the 23rd docket with the same exact Zoom link. And then so now she just switched this one. And I feel bad because I wanted Miss Rumley to be here, and that may prevent her. And I just don't want it to be held against her, Your Honor.
Well, it's certain. I mean, you don't think that I would hold that against?
No. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention. I didn't want it to look purposeful or that I was doing something that. Yeah.
We will accommodate her if we cannot. And I do see Mr. Saldana here. We will do our best to wait for her, accommodate her, get her the correct information. And if not, we'll consider resetting the case or her part of the case.
Okay, perfect. And I did resend the new one to the email she gave me yesterday. So I'm hoping they get it, but I just didn't see her on. And so I was worried about it.
Okay, well, I don't either. I'm going to go ahead and nevertheless and call for her. Alicia Rumley, if you all are able to somehow make contact with the facility, get her on, let me know as soon as you can, and we'll go to that. We'll go to Sedania. Okay, Ms. Walker, let me see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
You're not laughing at all of my jokes, so I think you can't hear me.
Oh.
There, that's good. That's 8-5 in the interest of AW for permanency review after final order. Thank you, Ms. Walker. You may call your first.
Yes, Your Honor. I would call Lauren Abels. Ms. Abels, how are you related to this case?
I was the previous CPS caseworker.
And currently, where is she placed?
She is placed in Cannon Lake area in an RTC.
Okay. And how's she currently doing in her placement?
She's doing as well as she can be doing. She was hospitalized in January, but she's back at the RTC and making good progress there.
Anything that she needs or the placement needs that the court should address today?
Nothing that the court needs to address. We're working towards looking for an adoptive family for her. That's where we're at right now, but all her basic needs are being met at the facility.
Okay, so what is her permanency goal?
Unrelated adoption.
Okay. Is she seeing any doctors or healthcare providers at this time outside of, I know you said that she was hospitalized last month.
She has individual counseling, and then she sees her doctors that prescribe her medication.
Okay. And is that a psychotropic medication?
Yes.
Okay. And is it being administered within the state guidelines?
Yes.
Anything else that you're aware of that she would need at this time?
No, nothing that anybody could provide. We're still trying to locate some of her belongings she had at her last placement, some photo albums and stuff, but we're working with the staff to try to locate the items that she couldn't, some of the items that she couldn't take with her. We have majority of it, but it's still a few things that she's looking for. But other than that, I can't think of anything at this time.
Okay. Are you asking at this time that the court continue her placement?
Yes.
And do you feel that's in her best interest at this time?
Yes, absolutely.
And are you also asking that the department continue as the permanent managing conservator at this time?
Yes.
And you feel that's in her best interest?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bythewood?
Miss Sables, how long was she hospitalized for? Do you know?
Yes, she was in there for a little over a week.
All right. And was there a medication change made while she was in there?
Yes.
And is her current placement working with her therapeutically regarding her triggers?
Absolutely.
And are you in contact with that therapist?
Yes.
And are they making great progress with this?
Yes. Although she's had some fallbacks, she has made even more progress than she did when she was placed at Girls Haven. She was very involved in her therapy. She's very open about what's going on with her. You know, emotionally wise, mental health wise, involved in her school. She's just making good progress all the way around.
All right. And have you received any home studies for potential adoptive homes?
No, not at this time.
Would you definitely keep me in the loop for those type of meetings, please, ma'am?
Oh, yes, ma'am, definitely.
Oh,
Okay. Yes, sir.
you went mute for just a second.
I did. I kept having a phone, somebody call, so I had to hand it off to Lori. So I didn't know. I apologize. Poor Miss Abels. So I'm hearing some really good things, but she desperately wants to have a forever home, doesn't she?
Yes.
Okay. And she's got some triggers and she's got some trauma for her past, but we have a really smart girl who has huge potential in life, don't we?
Absolutely.
Okay. And she's also just the funniest, sweetest thing when she wants to be, isn't she?
She is.
You know, I'm not allowed to have favorites, but if I was, she's up there. So I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your hard work in her case.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Abels, you seem to indicate that there's a new worker.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Lee Spiller.
Okay, all right. And I do see that name, I believe. All right, thank you. Ms. Walker, back to you.
I have no further questions and no further witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Abels. Ms. Butwood, you may call your first.
Tiffany McGalligan, if she's able to testify. Tiffany, just briefly, you're the guardian ad litem for this child, her best interest. Is that true?
Correct. There is an advocate that has been newly assigned, but I am the supervisor.
All right. And at this time, do you agree with the child's current placement and her level of therapy?
Yes, ma'am. She's overall doing well there. And she would love to be in a home, but she also does like where she's at.
Right. And she's even become a mentor for some of the other girls. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right. And I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Is there anything else that you need to add?
The only real thing is I think she's getting pretty close to us looking for a foster home. She really needs that. The placement is doing well, but she is getting close to being ready for a home where she can be a child. She's been through so much as here, but she's ready for that next step.
She is, but she still needs that ongoing daily therapy, doesn't she?
Yes, at this time. Yes.
Okay. And you understand that next week she's going to have another triggering event on the 2nd. So she needs to have her team supporting her for that.
I do not know what you're talking about.
Her brother's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And I'm going to go see her the 18th of May. Just kidding. Sorry. The 18th of March. And just go get to spend a couple hours with her, play some games, get her mind off of everything.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll be up there on the 3rd, so I'll be there next week. Anything else the court needs to know?
No, ma'am, not at this time.
All right. Thank you. I'll pass you as a witness.
All right, thank you. And Ms. McGalligan, if you know, is she specialized or moderate?
To my knowledge, it should be specialized.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Walker?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any other witnesses, Ms. Blightwood?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I'm wondering, Ms. Walker, and I do believe I see L. Spiller. I'm wondering if we might make counseling available like on the 1st and the 2nd or the 3rd. Is that possible?
They're aware of what's going on, Your Honor. In fact, they're having a balloon release for her and him. So they're super hands-on.
Okay. All right. So you believe that that's being addressed and will be addressed, and you're going to be up there on the 3rd.
Correct. Yeah, we both have our triggering events on the 2nd, so we're gonna spend some time together on the 3rd.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. That's great. Okay, Ms. Spiller. Thank you. Anyway. Okay. Certainly glad all of you are on the case and certainly on top of it as you are. Anything else from anyone else? All right. The department has continued as PMC. The court approves of and continues the current placement. Sets our next hearing for July the 26th, 2023 at 9 a.m. If we need to get back in here before then, certainly I know that you all will see to that. So with that, you all, she's not with us today, correct? I don't
I don't believe that she was planning on being with us. She usually is, but I don't believe she was planning on coming today.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Okay, so thank you very much. You all are excused on the White matter, and I will sign an order to that effect.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt again. I feel like I'm doing that all morning, and I apologize. I didn't know if there would be a chance to get with Amy and maybe the department on the McClellan matter. I just have a couple questions for them as far as maybe options.
I'm available after 5.
I know you're on every case, Amy.
We will, in addition to Ms. Bythewood and Ms. Walker, who else is on that? I think that's it.
And maybe the caseworker, Kayla Walker.
Okay. Ms. Walker and probably Ms. Cleaver as well. I'm guessing. Can I give you all 5 minutes?
Yes.
Ms. Walker, are you amenable to that, Ms. Bythewood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Saldana, maybe y'all can give me an update on Mom and any login.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
Is Mom?
I think so.
I am here. Alicia Rumley is here.
Awesome. Thank you, ma'am. I apologize for any confusion or inconvenience. We'll get to your case as soon as we can, okay?
Okay.
Okay, stand by, please. Okay, so Ms. Walker, Ms. Bythewood, and Ms. McPherson, that will be room number 3.
Your Honor, am I showing up in 2 locations because I'm on
Yes, you are. Let me put both of those devices in the room, or it might get interesting.
Okay.
So, maybe don't say anything until I have both devices in there. All right. Thank you very much. Are we ready on Saldana?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Call permanency review before final order. Is the mother Alicia Rumley present?
Here.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. And the father, Arthur Saldana.
Here, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, my apologies, Mom and Dad, and others for the confusion relative to the Zoom login information. You may call your first whenever you're ready.
Yes, I would call Leandria Spiller. And how are you related to the case?
I'm the caseworker, CPS caseworker.
And first of all, where are the children currently placed?
They're currently located at their paternal grandmother's home in Harris County.
And how are they doing in their placement?
They're doing good. There had been some recent adjustments as far as like their attitudes, but they are supposed to be getting pulled out for their first counseling session today to address some of those issues.
Okay. And when you say their attitudes, can you kind of give a little bit further explanation?
Yes, ma'am. Recently, as far as like the visits, I've noticed that there been some bickering, and siblings bicker, but just more so than I'm used to seeing them bicker.
Okay. But you said that they will soon start counseling?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything that the children need or the placement needs that the court should address today?
Not at this moment.
Are they seeing any doctors or other healthcare providers?
Recently had he wasn't feeling good, so he went to the doctor, I believe yesterday, and I'm getting the information when I believe tomorrow, so I can see exactly what's going on.
Okay. You mean as a result of what the doctor said or the result of the visit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any of the other children seen any doctors?
Not to my knowledge, no, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what is the permanency goal for the children?
The primary goal is relative adoption with the concurrent goal of relative conservatorship.
Okay. Are any of the children on any psychotropic medications?
No, ma'am.
Now, as to the parents, and first of all, starting with the mother, how's she doing in regards to completing the task in her service plan?
So right now, she did do the ADEC assessment, and inpatient services were recommended. She is currently an inpatient right now. She started parenting class, but she is non-compliant because she haven't been to any classes. As far as obtaining a legal source of income, she is non-compliant right now. She has been partially compliant as far as maintaining and obtaining stable housing. She was moving back and forth, I believe, in Houston, but as far as the past 2 months, she has been back in her home. She did sign a release of information for me. And as far as like the random drug testing, she did complete recently a hair NUA.
Okay. And have you gotten the results of those?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And were either of those results concerning?
Yes, ma'am. Her hair results.
Yeah. And now, was that taken prior, I believe, to her entering the rehab facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. And again, how long has she been there?
She went this past Monday, so the 20th.
Okay.
I believe.
And do you know how long the recommended stay is?
I was told 27 days.
Okay. We talked about the parenting, and at this point, was there anything else that she was able to accomplish prior to Monday?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And now, as to the father, how's he doing in regards to his service plan?
So far, he did his ADEC assessment. He was recommended to go to inpatient services as well. He have been trying to get in touch with them, and I have been trying to get in touch with them for those recommendations. To get him in, sorry.
And I guess what's causing the difficulty in order to be able to get in touch with, is it the facility you're trying to get in touch with?
Yes, ma'am. So I got the results back from the provider, I believe Thursday when I talked to Mr. Saldana. He informed me that he did call and schedule an appointment, and I just let him know, like, hey, just let me know which facility that you're going to. And then Friday, later that day is when he told me it was a miscommunication, so he did need the information. I provided that information to him Monday, and I believe he did call one of the places, and they recommended outpatient with another facility. However, his recommendations were for inpatient. So that's when I called yesterday, and I didn't receive a call back.
Okay. So you're waiting to hear from the facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And to your knowledge, is Mr. Saldana agreeing to attend inpatient treatment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else that he's been able to accomplish in regards to his service plan, in addition to the ADAC assessment and following the recommendations?
He has completed a release of information, and he has maintained some communication with the department.
What is the permanency goal for the children at this time?
This relative adoption.
Are you asking the court today to allow the children to remain in their current placement?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you feel that's in their best interest?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And are you asking that the department continue as the temporary managing conservator?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also feel that's in their best interest?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you also feel there is a continuing danger to their physical health or safety and contrary to their welfare if returned to a parent or parents today?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hollier.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Spiller. Are we happy to see that Alicia has completed her ADAC and is in inpatient rehab?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you able to assist her in getting in there?
She did a lot of the groundwork.
Good.
I just made sure, just told her when you do the assessments, just be completely honest, because in order to get, what you need, you have to be completely honest on those assessments. But I can say, she knew the results before I even got the email, and she was like, hey, I already called them. They let me know I can come in. So she really did a lot of the groundwork for that.
That's awesome. Do you think that's in her kiddo's best interest for her to take some initiative and get in inpatient?
Yes, ma'am.
So happy for her. Now we're only in the 9th month, so she's got some time if she'll utilize it. Would you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does she understands that she will need to complete or follow the recommendations of the inpatient rehab, and then follow any recommendations after inpatient rehab? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Have you talked to Ms. Rumley about where she plans to go? Does she plan on going back to her mom's house, or do you know after she is released?
I did not ask her about after she's released. I haven't asked her about that part.
Did you tell her, and do you believe she understands how important it is to maintain contact after she's released with both me and you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you know if I didn't understand, I guess, your response. You said that she started parenting classes, but she's not compliant because she hasn't attended. So what does that mean?
So we got her signed up for parenting classes, but she haven't started any according to the provider.
Okay, so is that something that she can start on and do while she's an inpatient, you think?
It is over Zoom, so if they're able to accommodate her needs for that, then yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
So there's a parenting class here that they do. That's, not the exact same one from out there, but it'll be the CPS, I guess, approved.
Okay, Ms. Rumley, thank you, Ms. Rumley. We'll get to you. Thank you, though.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ms. Spiller, it sounds like that they may offer parenting at the facility. The department would be okay with that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. So now she's not compliant with income, but as long as income is coming into the home, the department's not requiring her to get a job. Is that true?
If the income that's coming into the home is going to be able to assist and help if the children are returned home, and they will be able to have everything that they need, then yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, for example, community resources, food stamps, things like that, government assistance programs she can utilize to help show that she can take care of her kids, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. She's partially compliant with housing, and I would assume that's because you weren't sure where she was living. But it sounds like that most recently she was at her mom's house. Is that an appropriate home for the kids to return to?
I have not been able to go into the home recently, so I cannot give you a for sure answer on that until I'm able to assess the home and make sure.
Okay, good. And I want her to hear that. That way she knows that if she gets out and she's staying with her mom, to allow you access so you can determine whether it's appropriate.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. She signed the release, and she has drug tested. Here, you mentioned the psychosocial evaluation. Has she done that?
No, ma'am, she has not.
All right. Is that something that maybe she could get done while she's at rehab?
Yes, ma'am, if they offer it. I have today was my first day actually being able to get through to someone.
Okay.
They told me that her caseworker at that facility was supposed to be reaching out, with the number and information that I gave them. So,
Okay.
Whatever she can do at that facility, I am, she
more than willing to help her set it up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Because the psychosocial might have some recommendations, and I don't want her to fall behind on that. And then I think there's also a family violence intake. Would that be the same if that's something that is offered while she's at the facility? She could take advantage of that as well.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that covers everything on her family plan of service. We are only in the 9th month, so she's got at least 3 months to complete these services. And if she is actively doing that, would that lend or give the parties a potential, I guess, compromise to maybe extend the case to give her some more time to finish her services?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. But fortunately, paternal grandmother is taking care of these kiddos, and she's willing to do that for as long as it takes.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. And they are starting counseling today, so that should be beneficial, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What about visitation with my client? I know mom's been pretty consistent with visitation. Will she be able to have at least maybe some virtual visits while she is in inpatient, or do you know?
Again, that's why I was trying to contact the facility, because if she is able to do those virtual visits, then I do want her to still be able to communicate with her children while she's there.
Absolutely. Okay, so I guess the important thing would be is for whoever her counselor is to hear that getting in touch with you to try to get maybe some of these services started up while she's there and to facilitate visitation would be helpful, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you think that Ms. Rumley needs to hear in order to be compliant with her service plan and have an opportunity to have her children return to her?
No, ma'am. I just want her to, just continue to work services and continue to, put her children first in her thinking as far as these services and doing what's needed.
Awesome. Okay. Have you discussed with the your supervisor, or do you know whether or not that this case may be beneficial if it goes through the mediation process? Not quickly, but closer to the dismissal date.
Can you rephrase that for me?
Yes. Do you think mediation would be beneficial closer to the dismissal date in this case specifically?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you had conversations with the paternal grandmother about long-term placement and what that looks like for her?
Yes, ma'am, I have, and she's also working towards dual licensing for PMC and adoption.
Okay, good. And so that will give her options, but also gives my client options to not lose her parental rights, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on working with Miss Rumley, that she does not want her parental rights terminated. She absolutely wants to be in her children's lives, and she wants her children to come home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you willing to assist her and help her to achieve that goal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate it. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Keating.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Spiller, basically, Mr. Saldana is a little bit lacking in some of his services, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
And I think that he admitted that to me earlier this morning, but he is actually taken the first huge step to help him get better, and that is he's getting ready to go to inpatient, right?
Yes, sir.
And he's actually working on that actively, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. At this point, would you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No further questions at this time.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
Miss Spiller, these girls love their parents. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And I know that our youngest is a young man, but he's still a baby. But the girls have actually articulated how much they love their parents and how much they want to be with their parents, haven't they?
Yes, ma'am.
And up until last week, the parents really weren't doing a whole lot to make that dream of their children's come true, were they?
Yes, ma'am. That's true.
Okay. But we are at a fork in the road where mom and dad have admitted that they have a problem. And did you discuss their drug testing results with them?
No, ma'am. Dad hasn't drug tested for me. Mom just drug tested for me, and when I was going to talk to her about the results, which was, I believe, Friday, we wasn't able to meet up. And then now she's inpatient. Well, she's an inpatient, and when I tried to get a hold of them.
Pretty much the beginning of the case, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And, your court report said that dad admitted to having a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
That's huge. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're actively working on trying to get him help?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And when you said 27 days, I cringed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And for this particular substance, are you going to recommend that they get all the treatment they can and not just check a box for inpatient, because 27 days is just no time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. And then any services that are available while mom is in treatment, that totally counts, doesn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it should count because she's actually getting the help that she needs while she's there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, big question. Are mom and dad back together in a relationship?
I am unclear about their actual relationship status. Me and Mr. Saldana did have a conversation, and he said they're working on it. I know they do live in the same home, but as far as the relationship part, I don't want to assume and say yes or no. All
right. So at bare minimum, they're roommates.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I don't really have any further questions. Just if everybody can keep on their front burner that these children want to go home, they want to be reunified with their parents, and just keep doing everything they can do to make that happen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass you as a witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Hollier, you may call your first.
I will call Alicia Rumley. And right now you are in inpatient rehab. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations. How's it going?
I guess good so far.
Good. Did you hear Ms. Spiller's testimony with regard to your service plan and what you still need to get done?
Yes.
All right. Do you have a copy of that service plan?
I do. Yes, I brought one with me.
Okay, good. If you lose it or you need another copy, call my office or Miss Lee, and we'll get one to you. Okay.
Okay.
Now if it's available and you can do some parenting classes virtually at the facility, are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Good. What is your plan when you get out, or is your plan to go back to your mom's?
Maybe just temporarily while, because I called Star Hope when I was actually in the waiting room getting admitted here. And I plan and hope to get into another program, a transitional, some kind of sober living.
And Star Hope is actually in Houston, is that right?
Yes.
And you've had good success with that program in the past, is that correct?
Yes.
And do they also, depending on your cooperation and success in the program, they can help facilitate getting you a place, an appropriate living space for you and your children?
Yes.
Okay, is that ultimately what you want?
Yes.
You know that they asked what the permanency goal was, and it's relative adoption. You don't want your kids to be adopted, do you?
No, I won't.
You don't want your parental rights terminated, do you?
No.
Okay, so I want you to just focus and work really, really hard this next 3 months on getting these things done, okay?
Okay.
You need to do a psychosocial and follow the recommendations, which usually the recommendations are counseling. And so if there's any counseling that's available at the facility you're at, take advantage of it, okay?
Okay.
All right. And only one of your drug tests were concerning, so that's a big deal, and I'm so happy for you that you are getting the help you need. Do you think that you would have the opportunity to maybe do some virtual visits with your kids while you're there?
Maybe. I'm not sure exactly. I'll have to talk with my counselor.
Okay. And did you hear? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I know on Wednesdays we're allowed phone calls. I don't know about virtual, but phone calls for I think like 10 minutes or so.
Okay, good. Did you hear Miss Lee say that she really needs to speak with your counselor, or to have your counselor get in touch with her so that they can maybe try to facilitate some of this?
Yes, I wrote that down to tell her as soon as I'm done.
You heard the question on whether you and Mr. Saldana are in a relationship. That's important because y'all both have to succeed in order to get your kids back. And you know that, right?
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else? You heard about how the kids are doing. They're starting counseling. Maybe because they're fighting a little bit with their sisters. Surely brother's still too young to fight.
Yeah.
Do you think is there anything else that you think that they need or that placement needs to help them?
No, I am worried. We have not told them yet. We thought it would be a good idea to wait till I get when I get back from treatment to tell them about their uncle who recently passed away, who they're very, very close to. So yes. I think they're going to need some kind of grief counseling after that.
I would agree. And Miss Lee told me about that, and I didn't want to bring it up if it was a sore subject, and I'm so sorry. Do you think you could benefit from some grief counseling?
Yes, I believe in the plan for me up here.
Oh, good. Take advantage of that, because what you'll learn will help you even in the dark days. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Alicia, anything else you want this judge to hear before I pass you as a witness with regard to your case, how your kids are doing, where they're at, or anything?
No, I think that's about it. It's just I'm not giving up. I know it's a little late, but better late than never.
That's right. It's never too late, and don't give up, and you have time. And so take advantage of it, because that will help me in the future argue to maybe extend your case. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Alicia. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you. And so, Ms. Rumley, was this your brother?
Yeah, my brother, who I was very close to. And no, Arthur's not going to say anything. But Arthur actually was the first one to the scene, and it was very graphic pretty bad. He got hit by a car in front of our house, going 75 miles an hour just last Monday. So I know, and Arthur was also very close to my brother, and my kids were very close. So this all just happened on the 13th.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
missing his funeral, but I know I'm doing the right thing because he would want me to be better and get my babies back.
Right, right. Well, we're certainly you certainly have our sympathy and condolences. We're very sorry about that. Very sorry. Ms. Bythewood, I'm sorry, Mr. Keating, and then Ms. Bythewood.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bythewood.
Miss Rumley, did I hear that you're in Star of Hope, or you're trying to get?
No, I'm actually, but I called Star Hope while I was in the lobby waiting to get into here, and left a message with my old counselor that hopefully, I'll have a message when I get out to do an interview and get into there as soon as I can. I plan to do something else after this because I know 27 days is not very long. I just didn't want to go home and see my kids and tell them about their uncle because I think they do deserve to know something, that he's passed on. I just thought we should wait till I wasn't going to be leaving for a month so they weren't scared of something happening to me or something.
No, and I totally believe that's your decision and your call. But I do want to encourage you to keep on with Star of Hope because they are amazing and they have amazing resources that can just propel you indefinitely almost. So yes, you know that, I know that, we all know that. So keep, okay. All right. And even though we get fussy sometimes, you have a team behind you because these girls want to come home, and that's my job. And please don't make me ever look at your precious little girls and tell them that you're not being successful, okay? All right, because it's not about me, it's about them, and just they love their mom and dad so much, and that's what they wanted since day one, is y'all to be together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and your son, he's not quite as talkative as the girls are, but just keep up the good work, and I'm going to pass you as a witness.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Walker.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Ms. Hollier.
No further questions and no further witnesses, Your Honor. But I will ask for, because of the time, I will ask for a copy of the redacted records, and I'll submit an order to Pam if that's okay to look at, to agree to. All right. And Ms. Walker, if you're amenable, I will sign that order as soon as I see it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and say that I am going to set a pre-trial on May the 31st. May the 31st, we have trial on June the 28th, but I'm going to set a pre-trial additionally on May the 31st at 9 a.m. And we'll kind of see where we are, maybe talk about mediation.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Mr. Keating, you may call your first.
Yes, sir. And if I disappear on video, I have no idea what's going on. My computer is deciding to just kind of stop my video periodically. I have to keep coming back. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well,
I would call Arthur Saldana.
Very good.
I don't know that you know what I used to do. I used to be a paramedic, so I am very, very sympathetic at what you had to go through, sir. Okay. I've been there myself, and my condolences and my feelings are with you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on from that. And I'm sorry again, but you're ready to go into inpatient, you told me. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's a huge decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet it's something that you know you need to do, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you tell me, I think you said you had an appointment, is it next Thursday or Thursday tomorrow?
Or next Monday.
Next Monday. Good. Well, that's sooner than my second option, I guess. Good, good. Do you know where you will be going? All right. Well, when you get there, please let me know how to get in touch with you. You know that you've admitted to me that you haven't done really much of anything on your service plan, right?
Yes, sir.
Mostly because of the issues for the reason you're going into rehab, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to do that you have not told me, or that you think court needs to hear right now?
Yes, sir.
You heard what Miss Hollier stated to the mom and asked her, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We still have some time, not a lot, and you still got a lot to do, I know. But if we can get you through the rehab and get you started on that and get some other services going, and a lot of the services you might be able to do in rehab, okay?
Okay.
Parenting classes, maybe your psychological or psychosocial, things of that nature, hopefully you can do there, okay?
Okay.
And ask them, make sure that you give them the information from Miss Spiller. I know you guys have been talking because she said she was helping you with getting in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Keep her informed. She is your best friend right now, okay?
Okay.
All right. You heard Miss Bythewood state that your kids want to go home, right?
All right.
Let's make sure that they become your priority, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your mom's taking care of them right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you helping her at all?
My mom?
Yes. She's shaking her head no, so I guess not. Maybe you should help her some, okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. It probably would help her a lot. She's got quite a bit to do, especially as a grandmother, which she doesn't need, which is what she needs to be, not their mom, right?
Right.
And she doesn't need to be both, actually. She doesn't need to be their mom and dad, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, listen, let's get you into rehab. Until you get into rehab, any other questions I have or suggestions are going to be pretty moot, because you won't really be able to do it. And the reason you haven't tested for Miss Spiller is because you knew that you weren't going to test negative, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's a big step. That's a huge, not a big step. It's a huge step. So I'm very excited and I appreciate it of it. So keep it up. Keep in touch with me, please, because that hasn't been happening either. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any further questions. I think we have a baby boy in the background, Judge.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Bythewood?
Mr. Saldana, I don't really have any questions, but I will tell you the best way you can help your mom is to get into treatment so you can provide a safe and stable home for your kids. Because the last thing your mother ever wants to do is go to your funeral. So that's what that's life advice, not legal advice. But yeah, you have some precious kids.
Thank you.
And even though they've been through a whole lot, they have retained that special quality that kids have. So get yourself straight, and so they can have their dad. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I will.
And your mom can have her son. So that's all I have. I'll pass you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hollier.
I don't have any questions, but Arthur, Alicia needs your support, and I just ask that you please support her, okay?
I will.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Keating, back to you.
No further questions and no further witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Bythewood, you may take your first, if any.
I would just briefly call Mr. Vera.
Vera, I'm the grandmother.
And I think we know how you feel about some things because we had some head nods and some head shakes. So the children want to go home, don't they?
Oh, yes.
Okay. They absolutely adore their parents, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. But they need to go home if they go home to a home that doesn't have drugs, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay. And were you aware of everything that was going on?
No.
Right. Are your eyes completely open right now?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're aware that we have a methamphetamine problem here, aren't you?
Yes, I know now.
Okay. And if you have to, will you keep these children in your home and raise them?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. But you would rather be able to spoil them and send them home like a normal grandma relationship, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
But if you have to, you will keep them, won't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And if mom and dad don't get it together, that's a promise. You will keep them, won't you?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I mean, and it's hard because your son looks extremely healthy. You'd never look at him and think that he has a problem, would you?
Oh, no.
Okay. And how are the kids doing?
They're good. They cry for their mom and dad a lot. And I've been trying to explain to them what's going on, not the drug wise, just that they're trying to make themselves better for them. And they need their mom and dad. I mean, all kids need their mom and dad.
No, I understand completely. And the therapy will help. And it's hard letting little ones know that mom and dad just need to get some things done before they can go home. They don't understand, do they?
No, not really.
Okay. But I know that when they came to you, there was problems with their hair. That's all been taken care of?
Yes.
Okay.
I did them little hairdos and everything.
Oh, fantastic.
Mm,
And
yeah.
how are they doing in school?
Very good. They're doing very good. They're doing straight A's and B's.
All right, good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Anything these kids need, or you got everything taken care of?
So far, I got everything taken care of.
All right. And how close to being licensed are you?
They told me I have to have my own place. So I have my own land. So I'm trying to get a mobile home put on it. So me and the girls could be on our own.
All right. All right. And if that's not the case, that's okay too. Just if you need anything, you can get a hold of anybody you see on the screen and we'll do everything we can to help you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything the court needs to know or the parents need to know before I pass you as a witness? You get the last word.
No, I just want them to know that the kids need them and love them. And I'm glad that they're getting help.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everything you're doing, especially taking on raising four children. Four.
Yeah.
I'll pass you as a witness, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Walker.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hollier.
I don't have any questions. Just thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. Mr.
I don't have any questions. And again, as Ms. Hoyer said, thank you, Ms. Rivera.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Bythewood?
Just
And I'm the Casa Garden and Litem Advocate Supervisor.
right. And you said both. You're also their advocate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And at this time, what is CASA's recommendation?
That TMC continues, placement continues, and that the girls get in the therapy that is needed.
All right. And you heard that they have their first counseling appointment today.
Yes, ma'am. I think that will be very beneficial. And I just want Grandma to know how grateful and thankful we are for her. She has done amazing, these 4 kiddos. I do think that if parents are able to, that they help with soap, shampoo, diapers, any of that stuff that they can help with, that it shouldn't just all fall on Miss Rivera.
And you understand that at this point in time, that would be great, but the number one thing we want them to do is get in treatment and get clean.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And you also agree that any mention of their uncle needs to be done by the parents in a therapeutic manner?
Yes, therapeutic, I think, is going to be important because, yes, mom and dad, I think it is their role to be able to tell them, but they're still trying to heal and work through their trauma. So it may be best that a therapist is also there just to help mom and dad, but also the kids, because it's going to be hard as a mom and a dad to have that conversation.
Right. But it's not our conversation to have, is it?
Oh no, I don't think any of us should be telling them.
Thank you so much. Anything else that the court needs to hear?
No, ma'am. All of their needs are being met.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass you as a witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. McGallion. Any questions from anyone for Ms. McGallion? Anyone? Thank you. Any other witnesses, Ms. Bythewood?
No further witnesses, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Rivera?
Yes, sir.
We cannot thank you enough for all that you're doing. As the judge, what do you think I need to tell mom and dad right now? What do they need to hear from me, in your opinion?
First of all, I want both of them to know I love them very much. I believe in them. I want them to do better. I want them to get help, and I want them to get their kids back. These kids really need them, especially being girls and the way the world this is. They need their daddy's protection and the moms. I'm working a night shift. I'm making a whole different, how do I say this? A whole different lifestyle for me because, you know, I was so used to being by myself and now having all these kids. And Arthur is my baby. So it's been that long since I've had any kids. So it's a big change for me, which I don't mind at all because I love my grandkids. But they do need their parents. They cry all the time for them. And it's heartbreaking.
All right. Mom and Dad, if what Ms. Rivera just said does not reach you, make you resolve to make whatever changes you need to, nothing I say will. Nothing I say will. Mr. Saldana, your mom is my hero today. You know, y'all got a late start and y'all are both having to fight the most terrible monster in methamphetamine. But one thing I can say about both of you is that you've not disappeared. You have kept coming to court. So that tells me that you love your children and you've not given up. And so long as you all don't give up, we're not going to give up on you all. Many cases, many times in cases similar to this one, I have children that don't want to go home. Your children do. And I think there must be a good reason for that. So whatever it takes, I don't care, whatever it takes, stay in treatment, stay in recovery. Mr. Saldana, it takes a lot more courage and strength and love to get into rehab. So I'm very pleased, could not be more pleased that mom is where she is. We need to get you into rehab. You need to get into sobriety and recovery, because short of the children going home, nothing will help them more, nothing will make them happier than to see their mommy, their daddy clean, sober, and healthy. Okay, so we got to get there. We got to get there. We cannot, mom and dad, have any other tragedies any closer to home than the one we've already had. I beg you all. You know, and a moment ago when I heard the question of Ms. Rivera, what is your son doing for you? And I'm like, if you're not doing anything for your mom, what in the world are you doing? It's not like you're off at war or something. But then I thought, you know what? You are kind of at war with methamphetamine. And I want you to know we are with you, okay? All right, we want you to succeed. At some level, we know you can't do it by yourself. However many times it takes, don't give up, okay? It will stick at some point. You know, you're apparently a functional addict, okay? But it's time to face everything you need to face and get into inpatient, okay? Whatever it takes, all right? Because your children love you, they want you, they need you, they deserve you. Okay, sir? So let's you're not out of time, but you are kind of out of chances, if you know what I mean. Okay, we can't afford any other glitches or slip ups. Okay, so this judge is pulling for you, this judge believes in you. So let's keep up the great work. Thank goodness for grandmas. Okay. This is going to be hard, very, very hard on her. You all know that. It will keep her young, though. So keep working your services. The department continues as TMC. Placement is approved to continue. I do want the parents to be able to visit the children at their respective facilities if that's possible. Mom would need to get a little closer here if and when that occurs. I do want the mother to be able to have phone calls with the children. I think she mentioned Wednesdays, if that's possible. So I want them visiting. I want them talking to the children, mom and dad, as often as possible. Okay, mom and dad, remember, I have to tell you every time we're in court that if at the end of this case you're not willing and able to provide a safe environment for your children, your parental rights may be further restricted or even terminated permanently. I know you understand that. I know that you do not want that to happen, so don't let it. Do whatever it takes. We're going to see you all. Okay, the mom is partially compliant. Mr. Saldana is not, but that's about to change, isn't it, Mr. Saldana?
Yes, sir.
And thank you all for showing every single time, just about. Okay. Okay. All right. Ms. Rivera, thank you very much again.
You're welcome.